This is one of the most popular compact utility vehicles and one of the originators in this space. Back in the 90s, RAV4 and CRV both came out. They weren't top sellers initially. It was the Ford Escape, at least here in Canada, that was the top seller. But now each and every month, CRV and RAV4 battle it out for supremacy. And these vehicles do so much well. And I would say, I like to call the CRV kind of like the Swiss Army knife of utilities. It does a lot of things well. It does some things exceptionally well, and a few that Honda could work on. And we're going to get into the discussion about the engine and the driveline in just a little while, and that seems to be the one contentious area for some potential buyers. So the one you're looking at here is a new model for the Canadian market. It's called Sport. We also have Black Edition in Canada that they don't get in the United States. So what you're looking at here is the replacement for EX. It's called Sport now. It gets 19-inch wheels, it gets the darker wheels, it gets LED fog lamps in the front. A nice looking vehicle. They haven't really changed the look of this for the last few years, and I think they're bringing this out because RAV4 is new and has been selling exceptionally well. So let's get inside the Swiss Army of utility vehicles. I'll tell you more about the CRV Sport. This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below. Okay, before we start getting into the review, you have to go through what is really the goal of the CRV. Who's it intended for, and does it meet those goals? Well, the goal of the CRV is to be cost effective, not too much to buy, not too much to operate, be good on fuel, have a lot of space for a family, move a group of people around easily, be effortless to drive, and be reliable. That's really what you want in a compact utility vehicle. It is not a performance vehicle. It is a car or a utility that mom and dad drive and take kids places. That's what this is. Now, with that in mind, Honda made some decisions with this CRV that are quite different than they made over at Toyota with the RAV4. So they downsized the engine. Instead of the 2.4 liter four-cylinder they used to have, they went to a 1.5 liter and they turbocharged it. Years ago, used to have a 4 or 5-speed automatic. Now it has a CVT. So small turbocharged engine and CVT. Over at Toyota, they've gone with a larger four-cylinder, 2.5 liters, and 8-speed conventional automatic. So different choices. But the reason this is done for the CRV is to optimize fuel economy. And this vehicle gets 8.7 liters per 100 kilometers in the city and 7.5 on the highway. I'll put the miles per gallon for US viewers in there as well. So back to the stated goal of a mummy mobile. Really, this is what it is. It's going to get you where you need to go and not kill you at the gas pump. But there are some sacrifices and trade-offs for this decision. So first of all, it has 190 horsepower, which is quite good, and almost 180 pound-feet of torque. So the engine is up to the job when asked. So I'm at a stop sign now, waiting for the light to go green, and put my foot into it. And you can hear that CVT at play. It doesn't mimic gears as precisely as some other brands like Kia and Hyundai seem to do a better job with that, but it's good. In addition, you can put it into Sport, which just basically keeps the revs up. Does make it a little livelier, but it can be kind of annoying at sometimes. Better to put that back to drive after you've asked it to do its sporty maneuver. And then there's the Econ button, and that actually does improve fuel economy a lot. So if you're somebody that drives a lot and commutes, say doing a longer highway drive, you put it in that Econ mode, and you can get up to 7% better fuel economy just by hitting that button. In addition, this vehicle has start-stop technology. Now, not that long ago, Max had this vehicle, and he lives near Banff, where it's much colder than here on the West Coast, and he found that the auto start-stop didn't switch on and off at all in the time that he had it. And here's the reason why. I told you there's a discussion to have around the engine. So this engine has had some issues. Initially, when it first came out, there was vibration with the CRV. Honda says they've rectified that. Then there was what was called oil dilution, meaning fuel was leaking past the cylinder walls and then getting past the pistons and into the oil pan and producing oil dilution, mixing fuel and oil together. In fact, Honda acknowledges this. They even have a video online that you can watch about it. But talking to Honda representatives, they claim that they have made changes to this engine and the engineering, mostly around thermal management, which means how quickly the engine heats up. This oil dilution issue was really for cold weather climates. Well, we live in Canada, that's a cold weather climate, and really affected people that drove short distances. So you would get this dilution effect happening if you only drove short periods of time, which means the engine didn't heat up enough. That's the thermal management. So they've made modifications to the software and the thermostat and those sorts of things to get the engine to heat up quicker, and that hopefully will bypass that oil dilution issue. That's what Honda has told me. We'll have to wait and see if that's the issue and that's the case, and if they have solved this problem. But overall, it's comfortable to drive. The engine is willing. It is, it's a good power plant that delivers pretty good horsepower. It isn't the most engaging vehicle to drive. As I mentioned, that was not the goal. The goal was to deliver good fuel economy and move people around, and it does that. This thing has a lot of room on the inside. I call it the Swiss Army knife of utility vehicles because, yeah, it's going to be fairly efficient. It's easy to maneuver. It's got lots of windows, but when you get inside, man, there is a lot of room, especially in the back seat. Plenty of leg room and headroom. Easy for kids to tumble in and out of because the floor in the back is almost perfectly flat. It always has been a hallmark of the CR-V, and it continues with this latest version. So the back seat, if you have to move kids around, certainly is big. Then you get into the cargo area. This one has a power liftgate, so that's a nice touch. And when you put the liftgate up, you notice a large cargo area that has a false floor. So you can take that bottom part of the floor and drop it down a couple of inches to give you even more space. It would also help things from sliding around on the floor if you like. Say if you had a dog, you would make more room for the dog. You could easily do that. In addition, there are levers that you pull at the back that release the second row of seats and fold them down. They don't go perfectly flat, but if you need to move something larger, there certainly is some space. Then you get into the front. Now what they've done with this sport model is they've added some of these satin accents. I think it looks pretty good. Another thing they've changed is the configuration of the center console, a few more little drawers and things. Now if you follow the trims that we've typically had with Honda, you had EX and EXL. The L meant leather. Well, they've kind of gone replacing the EX with this sport trim with sort of a halfway measure. So they have the looks like faux leather or leatherette on the sides and cloth in the middle. And I kind of like this look. I like the look of the material. It looks like it's going to hold up well. There are heated seats in the front. In addition, you also get a heated steering wheel, and you add with this sport model blind spot warning and cross traffic alert on top of the already robust Honda sensing system, which is forward collision warning, autonomous braking. So basically with this sport trim, you're all covered when it comes to all of the safety features. So infotainment is very important. This screen is slightly smaller than the RAV4. Theirs is 8 inches, this is 7 inches, but it looks bigger because they've got all this black finish around it. They have a volume knob. When this vehicle was first introduced, the volume knob was not there. They listened and they added it back in. This also comes with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It's not the fastest and most responsive system, but it works and it does the job. So overall, the takeaway as we get going again is this is a comfortable vehicle. It's going to move everybody around, and there's going to be no complaints for kids in the back seat or mom and dad up front. They're going to be toasty warm with their seat warmers and their heated steering wheel. So yeah, nicely equipped vehicle. Is this the most dynamic vehicle in this class? No. The CVT certainly shows itself when you're asking this CR-V to do sort of aggressive acceleration, merging on the highway, stuff like that. But for most situations, driving around town, doing errands, it's perfectly fine to the point where it sits in the background. You don't even really notice. It kind of gets out of its way. So you have to decide, are you somebody that is really more focused on being engaged, or you just want a comfortable, practical vehicle that's going to do the job? That's what this is. This is the Swiss Army knife of utilities. Now, Honda certainly knows their market, and they know how people transact on their vehicles. And I would bet you that the price of this model at $36,900 Canadian is right where most people buy. So what you get with this vehicle, larger wheels, heated steering wheel, heated seats, nice functionality, all the safety features you could ever want, and packaged with some nice accents on the inside, is probably where most people buy, so that's why it's priced at almost $37,000. CR-V, it's a bestseller, and for good reason. The Swiss Army knife of utility vehicles. Car Cost Canada provides the dealer's cost, a list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get access to exclusive and powerful savings. The link is in the description below.